Welcome to the Solidity Insurance Group team call. My name is Marisa Maggio, and I'm super excited to be on with the special guest today. It is May 22nd of 2025, so we're almost halfway through the year, which is absolutely crazy. But each and every week, you guys know I really sit back and think like, who could be on this call that can actually serve the team, that wants to help people, that is out showing their business and showing what they're doing in the industry and showing how they're making an impact, and extremely thankful whenever I see them in person. So we have Wyatt on the call with us today. Wyatt, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. I'm
Good to
I'm really
hear.
good. I'm happy to be on with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And thank you for being on. We don't take it lightly, truly. Just to get started, Wyatt, first of all, I didn't say your last name because I don't know how to say it. So I'm going to flat out just be like, how do you say it?
You can butcher it. It's all right. It's Stamatopoulos.
Stamatopoulos. Okay, that's what I was
There you
gonna
go.
say, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. All right, but hey, for those people out there, Wyatt, that don't really know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of what you were doing before Family First Life, kind of what got you involved in the insurance industry, and why you chose to run that journey, with Family First Life.
Good morning, guys. I'm here in Tucson, Arizona. For those of you I haven't met, I'll look forward to meeting you in person. Don't ever be shy. Come to all the events. If you want to grow and you want to be like these top producers that you admire, you've got to put yourself out there. Being on these calls, being at conferences. I know what it feels like not to want to spend $1,500 to travel. And it's like, well, I should be selling and producing. I can't, I'll do it next year. I promise you, every time I've been willing to get uncomfortable and take what I foresee as a risk, it pays me back tenfold. So we have the Ignite conference coming next month. You should be there. We have national, you should be there. Any of these opportunities, be there. I was in corporate America. I was in the car business and I started as a car washer. By the grace of God, I've been clean and sober coming up on 9 years. I was a homeless heroin addict in my early 20s. Um, Lost, broken, in and out of 6 different treatment centers, jails, institutions. Um, People ask me all the time, what changed? I think with an alcoholic or a drug addict, most of us have those in our family or friend groups. It really comes down to, have you suffered enough? It's really it. I didn't get some divine inspiration one day. I didn't suddenly get smart. I suffered enough. I was tired of sleeping in a storage unit. I was tired of sleeping in front of fries, having everybody in my life tell me, sorry, Wyatt, we love you, but you can't be around. And so August 26, 2016, I looked at a man's shoelaces and asked him if he would sponsor me. About 3 days later, I said my first prayer, and it was full of cuss words, and it was just totally a wild prayer to speak to the Lord. But from that moment, my life has changed. About 2 years later, I got into the car business. I started washing cars. I worked my way into the parts department. And I think no different than this business, I've said yes to every opportunity. I've been underpaid. I've been overworked. I've worked for far less money than I should. But I always have felt grateful. And I've always said, you know what? My time is coming. One day I will be overpaid. One day you won't be able to deny me any longer. I will be paid what I'm worth. But in the beginning, any of you that are like in your early 20s, or this is your first job, or like, what makes you think you should be making 500,000 a year? Like, you haven't done anything. You haven't earned anything. And I still try to carry this mindset, right? Because I'm like, feel like I should have more. I've worked so hard, I should have more. Well, maybe not, right? And so I've just always said yes to every opportunity. Eventually, I ended up being a parts manager for a Toyota dealership in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was a great career, good money, good stability. I just didn't want to be 60 years old sitting in an office. Like, I always judge my life and like, okay, when I'm 85 years old and I'm sitting next to my wife in a rocking chair on the porch, what will I regret that I didn't do? Like, I can live with the shit I screwed up and the chances I took and missed on. I don't want to be that guy that's like, I should have done it. I probably could have done it and I didn't. And so I try to judge decisions in my life with that framework. And so for me, it was, what is the opportunity? Okay. I believe in the American dream. I believe in class mobility. I don't want to go back to school. So what skill can I leverage in the marketplace? I'm telling you guys right now, you found the right one. It is sales. I promise you it's sales. What's the vehicle? Maybe it's real estate. Maybe, I don't know. All I know is I was sitting there doing paperwork and P&Ls and listening to a podcast, and a gentleman, Sean Mike, came on, and I thought he was crazy. But I believed him. Like, for whatever reason, I could tell he wasn't lying. And that was the thing for me, I think. And then I dove into life insurance, and I'm like, you know what? God gave me a servant's heart. I know that. Like, I know I'm put here on this earth to serve in some capacity. Maybe this is the thing. And sure enough, I got on the website. 2 minutes from the dealership was an FFL office. And I walked in, and William Lohr was sitting in there, and I like told him straight up, dude, my daughter is due, my wife is due in 3 months with our daughter. I get married in a month. Is this real? Are you actually making money? Like, don't bullshit me. Is this a pyramid scheme? Like, are you making money? And he's like, yeah, dude, I'm making money. This is what I do. This is what we do. And I was sold. And from that day forward, I started studying for the exam, and would work full time, come home at night, study, and a month later, I was licensed and contracted. I didn't have a plan B. I still don't, to be honest with you. Like, this is it. Um, but you know what? It's like the name of my group is Intuition, and I believe that with most decisions in life, guys, you should make a pros and cons list. But what I have found is the most important decisions in life, usually they're equal at the end. You could have 10 pros and 10 cons. What are you left with? Well, God, what do you want from me? And what we're left with is our gut and our intuition. And that is how I've made a couple of big decisions. This was certainly one of them, to leave a great career and come into commission sales. And I've certainly hated some days, but I've never regretted the decision as a whole.
Honestly, your story, I could talk to you for 30 minutes just about your story. First of all, congratulations on being able to get clean and make that decision. And like you said, have you suffered enough and realizing, hey, this is where I'm at, and taking that step for yourself and for your family, quite frankly, that's amazing. And
Yes.
again, just congratulations. And I love how you said, say yes to every opportunity. Guys, I think that this is huge. A lot of the things that I've said yes to, Wyatt, I might have even like lost money. But guess what I earned?
Yep.
I earned the ability to understand it. And I learned the
Yep.
ability to pay it forward, right? And it's like sometimes these are the things that we're saying yes to. I'm not saying every time I say yes to an opportunity, guys, I lose money, but not every opportunity is going to work out, right? That we take on. But say yes to the opportunity. Just like you're talking about, being out in Phoenix, it's like, guys, get out to Phoenix. Like, we're on the East Coast. We're going to be in Phoenix. Why are we going to be in Phoenix? Exactly what Wyatt said. We want to make sure folks know we're out here, we're working, we're here. Like, like this is what we do. And also the amount of knowledge we're going to gain in one day, one day. I think that that's really cool how they're doing it one day, because you can literally soak it in and then go apply it the next day when you're back at your house. So guys, if you're not there, or you're like, I don't know if I should go, like you should go, but let's start there. Wyatt already, there's a reason that Wyatt led with that. And I didn't tell him to do that. We barely talked before this call. So it's like, guys, get yourselves there. You guys know I'm crazy about that, but there's a reason for it. And then the rocking chair analogy. I think that that's huge. You think back, hey, when I'm 60 years old and I'm sitting next to my wife with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, like, what is that conversation going to sound like? And is there anything I'm going to say, I wish I had done this instead? Versus, I might have done this and messed it up, but like, hey, that was good times, and we figured it out, right? So I love that
Absolutely.
because it's long-term thinking, guys. A lot of us have that short term, like what's going to happen tomorrow? It's like, no, 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 no. Like, what's going to happen when you're 60 in the rocking chair? What does that
Mhm.
truly look like for you? And guys, if you haven't asked yourself that question, it's a scary one to ask yourself, but it's a necessary one to understand your why and understand if you're serving your purpose, so to say. Um, and then I love how you said, God gave me a servant's heart and there's no plan B. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've been in the industry since I came out of school, and this is just like where I've lived, so to say. And I think that when you truly feel like God's giving you a servant's heart, this becomes like it's done. You're just talking to people. You're just having conversations. In the no plan B part, it's like my plan B is to figure out how to make this work in a different way. Like that's the only plan B I got. So I'm with you there, Wyatt, on no plan
Mhm.
B. And I appreciate you just being open and honest about your experience thus far and just being authentic, because not everybody's able to do that. Now, You obviously produce at a pretty high level. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's another interesting thing to touch on, right? Because I work really hard. That's the one thing I can count on is my ability to show up every day and work hard. Sometimes the results don't come like we would expect them to. Now, look, my family is fed. We have a great life, but like it's taken me a couple of years to hit Hall of Fame, right? I've been in this 2.5 years. In my opinion, I should have hit Hall of Fame the first year, right? I look at Rami, I look at you, and I'm like, why? Like I should hit Hall of Fame, and I haven't. But I think that's a dose of humility sometimes that we need. Like, regardless of if the result comes and this objective that we have set out there, whether we hit that or not, do I still show up and stay faithful to myself and my dream? Like there's this thing Ed Milet says about you guys might have heard this, that most people's dreams are for sale. Okay. With either a little bit of success, they will sell their dreams. You give them a little bit of money, an integrity deal, a good month or a good year, they'll sell their dreams and their family's dreams. A little bit of success, they'll sit back and say, this is good enough. Most people, it's a little bit of failure. They have a dream for them, themselves, their family, and they go out there and they get smacked in the mouth and they say, you know what? I can't take it, man. This is too painful. This sucks. This is really uncomfortable. I'm going to go back to that job. I'm going to do this part time. Like, I'll readdress it later. And with a little bit of success or a little bit of failure, they sell their freaking dreams. And so it's negotiate the price beforehand. What am I like? I negotiated the price beforehand. I expected that this was going to be really, really uncomfortable and it was going to suck. And I was probably going to fail a lot. But that's what that really no plan B, that's what that actually means is that I've negotiated the price beforehand, whether I have success or failure. This is the path that I'm on until something very clearly diverts me elsewhere. Um, and so this year, I'm going to hit Hall of Fame for the first time. I'm tracking at close to six. Would like to do more. I did 17,000 this first week of May, and I
So
went fully virtual at the end of 2024 out of necessity. I was in the field for the first 2 years since moving to Arizona. Just logistically, I had to go virtual. And like, wouldn't you know, my numbers have really gone up since then. And so, yeah, top producer, whatever, I don't want to hit Hall of Fame for anybody else but me. Like at this point, it's just one of those things where it's like my identity is that I am a Hall of Fame producer. I want to go accomplish it because I've worked so hard. It doesn't really mean anything, right? Like I'm not the don't do stuff for the validation of man. I live my life a long time chasing the validation of other people. That's not a way to live life. So it's like whatever goal I have set, that is what I'm after for me and then my family. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And I love that you're talking about like seek your own validation and not the validation of others, because when you're doing that, seeking the validation of others, it's typically not going to work out for you in the way that you need it to, right?
Well, and
Um,
Marissa, it also comes down to this like self-confidence and being settled in who you are, I believe, comes from keeping the promises that you make to yourself. That is it. It's not about other people. It is like my days and where I'm at in life and how I'm feeling about myself really hinge on that. Am I keeping the promises I make to myself? Now, that is as simple as did I wake up early and go to the gym? Did I do these things I set out to do? Stupid stuff sometimes. Like, did I spend 5 minutes reading or praying this morning? No, right? I said I was going to do it though. So that right there is a chip away at this identity and this, I'm not being congruent with the person that I want to become and the person I am right now. If I'm not keeping the promises I make to myself, there's no congruency there. And so when you see these people who are just like, man, she's got it. Like she is just a beast. Like everything she does, she just kills it. I can promise you it's because she keeps the promises she makes to herself, from the big to the small.
Absolutely. And just like you said, why it always starts with those small things. Like, did I wake up and did I spend time with God for 5 minutes? Did I wake
Yep.
up and did I work out? Did I make 400 dials today? Right?
Yep.
Did I make sure I talked to 10 new people? Right? Like whatever that small goal is, when you're doing that, just like you said, you're building a healthy identity of yourself because like you said, there's
Yeah.
that congruency. And when that doesn't happen, it can really mess you up mentally. I love how you said you went fully virtual late last year. I think that that speaks volumes of just kind of how a transition is. I was in the home too, and I say this like with love, right? It's like some of you guys are coming in and you guys are like, "Oh my God, like we were all face to face," and then all of a day, like all of a sudden one day, everyone's like, "Hey, like I'm going virtual. I'm going virtual. I'm going virtual."
Yeah.
So then it's like we all had to go virtual. We had to figure it out, right? And we're kind of relearning this new system, so to say. It's the same transition, but you don't have that person in front of you, right? Like, why I can't make you feel something, so to say, the same way I can when I'm looking you in your face, right? So that was my biggest thing I was worried about. Now, coming out of the field, Wyatt, what are some things that you would tell folks that are starting in telesales? Like, hey, like you got to realize like this is a small thing to be grateful for, like versus being in the field and kind of what that looked like for you.
Well, here's something really interesting. Okay, because oh, I forget the number. I want to say it's 58%. Like researchers have studied this. 58% of communication is body language. Okay. Now, so we're in the home, like you said. I'm sitting in her living room, looking her in the eyes. Like my body language speaks more than half, and that's how we communicate. We've learned it since we were kids. My 2.5-year-old, she's learned to communicate predominantly with body language and what she's picked up. Okay, well, now we're going virtual. We're like cutting ourselves in half. So that's something really interesting to learn. I believe tonality takes the place of body language. Right. So there's all this technical stuff, but here's my real opinion on it. And I took me a while to figure this out because telesales is really hard. It was for me for a minute. Here's what I figured out though. It's not different. It is the same, in my opinion. What is different is the mental aspect of it and the mental game. Here's why, because okay, I have 10 appointments in the field. I leave my house, I have a 20-minute drive. I'm on podcast, phone call, music, right, whatever. I'm in the moment, I'm in my car, I get to my home. Regardless of how that appointment goes, I have another drive to my next home. My day is broken up into digestible chunks. Whether I had success or failure, I have a reset period. And when somebody answers their door and looks me in the face, I am held accountable to truly be present and in the moment because I'm in front of them. Over the phone, dude, I could have 10 appointments before noon and like get hung up on 3 times, have two no sales, and have right like, and by noon, I have done all this work and had all these appointments and have a bunch of failure. And I'm sitting here like, I suck at this. Like, this is the worst thing ever. I am so bad at this. I'm just sitting here in the same spot doing the same thing. And so I have to acknowledge that is the main difference for me, that there isn't that structure in my day, and momentum plays a much larger role in telesales. So then I have to get wise about how am I holding myself accountable and in check mentally doing telesales. Because I'll tell you what, man, I can like get way off track 2 hours into my day. Because 6 people could answer, they could all tell you, I'm not interested. I didn't fill that out. And you're like, this sucks. And now, wouldn't you know, the rest of your day sucks because your tonality has been thrown off by like 2 hours worth of work. That makes sense. Like that to me is the
It
biggest thing.
It makes beautiful sense. And I love how you said that, like in the field, your day was kind of broken down for you, so to say. Like, you knew you're going to
Hmm.
have that break in between Donna and John's appointment to drive or listen to that podcast. And now it's kind of like you got to just keep going and figure out your flow, if you will, right? And the
Yep.
mentality of that's definitely, to be very transparent. That was the same issue I had going from in the home to telesales, was that transition of activity and kind of what it felt like. But picking up the momentum, just like you're saying, is the biggest thing because once you're there, you're winning. Now, let's talk a little bit about your sales process. Are you mainly, because like you talked about, I love how you were like, hey, you can have 10 appointments before noon. None of them might answer. They could all
Hmm.
answer and be like, even though I talked to you yesterday, I'm all set. I don't need the insurance, like
Yep.
fly a kite, whatever, right? You get 10 no's in some way, shape, or form, but you got to keep moving, right? Whereas in the field, we
Yes.
went out with 10 appointments and we were like, let's go. Like, we're going to kill today. So
Yes.
different type of activity, but same transition when we're actually thinking about it. So in your sales process, Wyatt, are you predominantly one call closing? Are you scheduling appointments? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Personally, I focus on one call closing. I've had dialers, have not had dialers back and forth. For me, for telesales, one call closes work the best. My no-show rate is extremely high with setting appointments virtually. I'm sure there's some stuff I could get better at because it just isn't good. So I have had the most success one call closing. Now if I talk to somebody and in the first couple minutes, they tell me they're busy and I buy it and I push a little bit and they're still like, "Hey, dude, I'm picking up my kid from school. Like, I don't have time." Like, perfect, Marissa, not a problem. They've got my next couple days pretty busy, but you know what? If I have a cancellation or a few minutes, I'll give you a call. Like, I'll transition to an appointment. But I really want to push a little bit to be one call closing and into it with people. Now I do a lot of final expense. And guys, you got to think like if you're new and you're looking at, okay, what leads do I dial? You've got to consider this. If you're dialing final expense, those people are typically going to be available during the day because they're retired. If we're doing mortgage protection, like I've started to dabble with, a lot of those people are going to tell me, "Hey, I can't talk right now. I'm at work." And that is real. They're not lying to me. Like they're like us, like they're at work. So I do a lot of final expense, which also facilitates me doing on-call closes because if I call somebody right now at 12:30, they're retired, they should have time to talk to me.
Absolutely. So you're big on one call closing, get in front of that person quickly. And I love how you said, because this is a question I get from a lot of new agents all the time, is we always want to delegate that task we don't want to do, which is dialing. And guys, there's just no way in
Mm,
this industry to get out of dialing. There's just not. And you just kind of briefly brought up why, you've had dialers, you've not had dialers, you've had them, you've not had them. And I've been in the same boat, so to say. And leaning on the not having them side at this point. Talk to us a little bit about your experience with that and maybe why you would or wouldn't recommend that to a newer agent.
oh gosh, that's a great question. Well, you know what? I would also just say this blanket statement. If you're making money, don't be afraid to spend money either, okay? Because you might be able to justify, well, Marissa, I don't need a dialer because I do that job better than anybody, da da da. But like deep down, you're just trying to avoid spending money. Like, don't do that either, right? A lot of us come from like lower middle class homes. Like a lot of us aren't rich kids, right? We have this hunger because of what we didn't have. What I mean by that is the first time we get a little bit of money, we're like chipmunks with our nuts. We want to go store them under a rock and like save them for a rainy day. And that's not how we need to operate as business owners. Don't be stupid, right? If you netted 5,000, don't go spend four on dialers, right? But like if you're making money, don't be afraid to spend it. And guess what? Marissa's tried dialers, hasn't worked, has worked, same. She's still alive and you're still writing business. Like you can go try stuff and it may not work. But what you don't want to do is sit back and say, well, I haven't ever tried anything. Like you don't want to get stuck in that either. And I'm like guilty as charged. I have played too small before. So to answer your question, yes, like if you have a good flow where you are buying leads, you're selling business, your business is sticking on the books, and you have created a predictable income source, and you can say, you know what, for the last whatever months, I am actually making money, depositing money. I don't care what the leaderboard says. Are you actually making money? If the answer is yes, yeah, go try a dialer, right? Like get with your mentor, say, hey man, hey, this is what I'm thinking. If the money makes sense, do it. Now just be aware when you get a dialer, if you just hire somebody in the Philippines and go, oh, cool, I've got a dialer, they're gonna book me. No, that's gonna suck. And it's gonna be a waste of money. Like, just be prepared to have to invest in people. You're gonna have to train them. You're gonna have to hold them accountable. They're just like anybody else. You're gonna have to work and develop that dialer. They're not gonna come perfect, ready made for you. You know.
Yes. Yeah, and that's huge. I love how you said don't avoid spending money because like that is also another key.
Mhm.
If you're making money, guys, like that's different. But if you're like, hey, I can't get anybody to get on the phone with me and stay on the phone long enough to one call close, we're like, hey, we want to hold off on that. You haven't made sales yet. We need you to make some income. And I love how you use the
Yeah.
chipmunk example. A lot of us didn't come from money, so when we get it, we just want to kind of store it and we want to hold on to it
Yes.
tight. But guys, it's like reinvesting that back into your business, whether that's leads or to dial or when it makes sense, whatever it is, 90% of the time it's going to help you long term. So why I love how you broke that down. If you're making money, like invest the money, right? Like if you're not making money, you got to recognize that too and figure out where you're going wrong. Now, in your sales process, what are some of the biggest things that you highlight to make sure that almost the client's on the same page as
Mhm.
you, and before you go into your pitch, you feel like really comfortable showing them what you're about to show them? Like what needs to happen in that conversation prior?
Great question. I need to connect with them. Here's my thing. Like, I believe in sales, like I don't ever want to tell anybody to do anything. Now that is different. Like there's a delineation. Like I could say, "Hey, Rami, go grab a pen and paper for me." That's good, right? We're leading the show, right? Like this is our show. We have a frame that we operate from. We keep people in that. But if I'm trying to get Rami to move and make a decision, spend money, I don't want to like tell him, "Hey, Rami, but your kids, you already told me that they don't have money. They're going to be in a bad situation if you die without insurance. You need to go get this insurance." All that is going to do is arouse bitterness and obstinance from people. They're going to get stubborn and want to tell you no. The alternate to that is connecting with somebody, asking really good questions, and helping them make good decisions. All we are trying to do, guys, as really, really effective sales professionals, is shine a light on people's life and help them to see these gaps that they have and these holes that they have and that they're missing, right? Um, Rami, you make 1,200 a month. Marissa, you make 1,400 a month. Your mortgage is 9. Hey, have you guys talked about it? I know it's a bit morbid, but Marissa, if you die tomorrow, Rami, are you going to sell the home and try to downsize? Are you going to have some of your kids move in? What does that look like? And then
Yeah,
I'm
I'd probably
quiet.
sell it. Right. Yeah, and they always answer though, Wyatt, right?
Absolutely. And but it's an effective way for me to build value and connect with somebody by asking really powerful questions. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm telling people what they should and need to do. And so you ask like what needs to happen? I need to connect with people and have them open up to me a little bit. The way that I do that, guys, is okay, I call the lead, they have time, they grab a pen and paper. The question that I ask is, "Hey Marissa, let me ask you. When you fill this out, is it something that's kind of been on your heart for a little while? Have you had any health scares or deaths in the family recently?" And then I'm
It's been
quiet.
on my mind a while. I had a death in the family a couple of months back, but yeah.
"I'm sorry. Were you close with them? Was it immediate family?"
No, it was like a second cousin and she was getting older, but we didn't
Okay.
have insurance.
I was just gonna ask, okay, what did that look like? Did you guys all kind of throw money in the hat as a family? Did
Yeah,
somebody
we
have to cover it?
yeah, we all really had to pitch in and I just don't want
Okay.
it to look like that when, I should go.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you died yesterday, like who in your life is going to be the one picking up the pieces?
My sister, Christina.
Okay. Is she here locally with you or is she out of state?
She's local.
Okay. Got it. Now, at this point, would she be out of pocket? Do you have anything in place currently? Any funeral plans, any life insurance?
Oh no.
Okay. I mean, is she in a position like if you died yesterday, does she like would it be easy for her to take 5 grand and pay for it or it'd be tough?
I don't think it would be easy, so yeah,
Okay.
no, it would be tough, and I don't want her to have to do that.
Got it. Okay. And then like we can go on as long as you want, but like my point is like a couple things is tonality. When we've got to know this when we ask a question, guys, we want to soften up our tone. We want to lower volume and soften up tone. That is a question asking tonality. When we make a statement, we want to raise the volume a little bit and sharpen it up a little bit. Right? This is we've got to know this. You don't want to call and say, "Hey Marissa, this is Wyatt. I'm the medical underwriter." Um, like that is a question asking tonality and it makes you sound very weak. Hey, Marissa, I'm the field underwriter. They're going to tell you I'm not interested. I didn't fill that out. Hey, Marissa, this is Wyatt. I'm the field underwriter here out of Tucson. Okay, that's a statement tonality. Just right. So when I'm asking, hey, is this something that's been on your heart for a little while? I want to soften up my tone and I want to ask, is it essentially what I'm saying is, has it been on your heart for a while? Have you been procrastinating? Or did you have a health scare that made you get serious about this, or did you lose somebody close to you? Those are really the only three things in final expense.
So true.
Those
I
are the only
love
three
that.
things.
Because tonality is everything. And just like you said, in the home, we really did exchange that body language for tonality. So I think that's huge to point out. It's like, guys, when we're introductory, we always talk about this. Like we're a little bit higher and we're in charge. Wyatt, this is
Mhm.
Marisa getting back to you about that request you sent in regarding the mortgage protection, where you put Cheryl as your beneficiary. You remember that, right? Statement at the beginning. Well, I'm getting back to you. Now, when I'm asking him
Yep.
questions or asking anybody questions, you got to go low and slow. Like if Wyatt was like,
Yep.
so if you died yesterday, like what does that look like for your sister? It's like, okay, first of all, he sounds like really
Right.
weird. And second of all, he sounds like excited about it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, guys, we don't want to sound excited about it either. We just want to be low and slow. Like, just like how he asked me those questions, it was perfect tonality. Like, what would that look like for her? Is she local? He's basically acknowledging, hey, these might not be the easiest questions for you to answer, but I have to ask you them so I can understand where you're at. And guys, when you start doing that or implementing it, and if you are or you're not doing it right now, But when you start doing that and asking those uncomfortable questions, you're going to start helping more people than you ever thought you were capable of helping. And it's just
N-
because you were willing to get uncomfortable. Until that day comes, you're probably going to struggle immensely in this business, just to be really transparent, because you're only going to sell the
Absolutely.
ones that would have bought it from anyone, which is not a place to be.
Can
So
I
make
can I
sure,
add to that?
yeah, please
That
do.
is that is the point right there. The biggest mistake I think we make as new agents is we take for granted that they are on the phone with us or they allowed us in their home. Right? We think, well, we're talking, she showed up to the appointment. She must really want insurance. Not true. There's maybe 25% of the population, like you said, that will buy from anybody. What about the other 75%? The only way we're going to get there is if we connect with people and we really find the why. And as new agents, we don't want to ask those uncomfortable questions. I get it, but it's selfish. Number one, you're shorting yourself of a bunch of sales and success and serving so many people, and it's just selfish. Like, what are you afraid of? Right? And so what usually happens as new agents, I was guilty of it for a long time, is you go, well, I had a loss in the family recently. It was a second cousin. A lot of us go, perfect, Marissa. Well, here's what we're going to do today. And we just assume that's enough. Oh, okay, well, you lost somebody close to you. Let me tell you what we're going to do. It's like, no, 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 no. Right there's where we need to stop. Got it. Okay. Well, are they here locally? Why do I ask that question, by the way? Because we want to cover travel expenses too. Like if I die in Tucson and you're out in Boston, that's going to cost money for you to come handle my stuff. That's another for us, maybe 500 or $1,000 in commission simply by asking where do they live. That changes the dynamic. But we want to go deep. Don't be afraid to ask these questions. What does that look like for her? Does she have the money to cover it? Does she have a family and kids? Like, you'd be surprised when you ask these questions in a genuine way. People are willing to open up to you.
Absolutely. And they're thankful that you called, right? Because they can see that you actually care, right? And that's huge too, just for keeping your clients and retaining your clients. And Wyatt, just to wrap up, I have two more questions for you. First one would
Go for it.
be after you close so you just help the family. How are you making sure that that business is staying on the books?
I send an email immediately. So if I sell an Americo policy, I'm sending three things. I'm sending the Americo brochure. It's like about the family company history. I'm sending a pamphlet on the Eagle Select, CBO, IUL, whatever. And then I'm sending a digital copy of the application. And I tell them this. Hey Marisa, I'm gonna send you three things. One is on right America's family history, one's on the product, one's the application. That way you have something to look at while we're waiting for the policy in the mail. I send them that recap email. I put a nice message. Congratulations. Thanks for being such a pleasure to talk with. I hope I was helpful for you. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out if you need anything. Now, I just hired an assistant actually. So even me, like spending money branching out, I just hired my first staff, which I'm super excited for because I suck at follow-up. Like I'm the worst dude in the world. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not good at annual reviews and I'm not good at follow-up. Just being real with you guys. So that's something I need to get better at, and why bringing on an assistant for me, that's one of the things. Um, but I just like, just to sum it up, I think what you just said, you got to understand if you're doing final expense and you're talking to Betty, she's 75 and she doesn't have insurance, you really think you're the first insurance agent she's talked to? She's talked to 10 of them, dude. What is going to make us different? I can tell you that going deep with them on questions and finding the why. Um, but if you can connect with people in that way, typically you have a good chance of staying on the books. My persistency is like 83%, which is good, for the volume.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you're writing at the volume that you are. And like you said, you're pacing 600,000 on the year. So guys, I
Yep.
love that. I love how you send like the pamphlet and the brochure for the product. I think that's awesome. It just gives them something to reference, and the application, which is great. So everybody's on the same page. There's
Yep.
no confusion. You have an email going out letting them know it was great to talk to them. You enjoyed the conversation, and to let them know to reach out to you with any questions. And like you said, guys, I think, and I really want to highlight this. Whenever you talk to somebody, even if they tell you, I've never talked to somebody about life insurance, I would bet my own life that they probably did. Nine out of
100%.
10 people, they did. They just
Yep.
didn't like the person they talked to. Wasn't their jive, okay? So make sure that you're following up with your people. You're making sure they have your information. They're able to reach you if they have questions and all that good stuff. And then Wyatt, just to close the call out, what are your goals, whether it's personal, business, or both, wrapping up 2025?
My biggest personal financial goal is I want to deposit 100 grand a month. And I've always just had that number. Don't ask me why. It seems cool. I was playing. I want to deposit 100 grand a month. How I'm going to get there is a multitude of ways and time. One thing I don't think our generation gives enough credit to is how much time things can take. Truly, right? The people that we admire and love, we're seeing the finished product. Like name me a business influencer or whatever that you love. We're seeing a lot of times the finished product. Like we didn't see the 10 years that they did before that. So like who am I to think I've done this for 2 years and right? That's not to like look lowly on myself. There are people that do that in 6 months, but maybe that's not me right now, right? So anyway, give things time. Give things time. There's a lot of value in making a goal and staying on that path and not being diverted from it. So to make 100 grand a month, and this year I'm really focused on growing. I've really enjoyed producing and all of that, but I want to start impacting other people's lives and seeing other people be as excited about this as I am and do what others have done for me. So I want like the number I have is 10 people. Like I want 10 people in this Tucson office, agents. Like I want it to be really loud and uncomfortable in here because there's just a bunch of people selling insurance and shit.
I
Um,
love that.
but that's the goal. Yeah.
Awesome. And guys, one thing I will absolutely say, being in the industry for this long is just like you said, why time is a beautiful thing. And sometimes we think, we've been here for a year, 5 years, whatever it might be, and here we are. Why don't we have more? Let's look around you and realize what you do have and be grateful for it, and think about where you were at before. And that really always humbles me quite a bit. And I love how you're
Yeah.
saying 100,000, a month. That's my goal. It's always been my goal, and I'm going to hit it. And I'm going to hit it while making an impact on other people's lives outside of just from a selling standpoint. So, Wyatt, I'm really excited for you, and I'm just thankful for you being on this call today. It was awesome, and it really just broke down a lot of psychology behind a lot of the things that I think we overthink as agents. So I can't thank you enough. It was incredible. I really appreciate your time, genuinely.
Anytime.